Welcome to Mile High Reefers. I'm Scott Anderson, and it's been about 3-4 weeks since I added Fluconazole to this tank to help get rid of some bryopsis and hopefully some hair algae. So today we're going to talk about how that's going. We're also going to talk about the new coral I bought, because I love coral. But recently, this tank may be taking a downturn. So we're going to talk about some of the struggles I'm currently facing. I just lost a coral, and today everything's a bit off. So we're going to talk about that as well. Algae-wise, the display upstairs is doing really well. When I added the Fluconazole, there really wasn't much algae up here, and now there's even less. There's just basically nothing up here. I get that thin layer that goes on the outside of the glass. I got some heavy stuff that needs a razor blade taken to it. But for the most part, upstairs is looking amazing algae-wise. Frag tanks downstairs are where my real algae struggles were, and they're looking pretty good. If you've been following this process, you've kind of seen how I've scrubbed the tanks and done my cleaning, and the algae really hasn't grown back. In this frag tank, it's worse in this kind of dark corner that you can't really see, but it's not really growing on the plugs like it was. You can see there's a little bit on these guys, but it's not too bad. We're moving in the right direction. I'm not yet willing to put the carbon on it. The sheep tank down below is less good. As you can see, we got quite a bit of algae on the walls. This left side of the tank is definitely the worst of it. The right side, I can visually see that the algae is down. But without actually taking the time and effort to scrub the tank, this one hasn't come as clean. So the Fluconazole for hair algae on this tank has not yet been a magic bullet. Upstairs, I'm seeing, or on the tank above, I'm seeing good results. But a lot of this is due to good old-fashioned hard work. So the Reflux Fluconazole has not been a magic bullet for hair algae. This isn't really disappointing because it never claimed to be. It's hobbyists who are having that amazing success. And I personally had some great success in the 24-gallon. Honestly, given the amount of money I spend and the amount of gain I've had, it seems like it's been worthwhile. But we're not done with the process, and I'll continue to update you as it goes on. The miracle of Reflux Fluconazole, or Fluconazole in general, is that it can be used to get rid of bryopsis. Bryopsis used to be one of the worst algae out there. It would cause people to tear down their tanks. It can be really difficult to get rid of. These days, it's a few pills. It's fantastic. So while maybe it didn't fix the hair algae problem, the bryopsis problem, gone like magic. I love it. All right, now on to the best part of this video. I got new coral! Yes, I love coral. You guys know I love coral. That's what this hobby is all about for me. So I went to Biggs Lagoon the other day and I picked up some pretty cool corals. Let's check them out. For new coral, well, I got a fox coral. The green one's the new one. The kind of teal and pink one next to it's my old one. And you can see what a monster colony that old one is. This green fox coral is absolutely gorgeous. Fox coral is a coral I absolutely love. It's closely related to bubble coral, but somehow it's really easy to take care of. It's super gorgeous. It looks like a bunch of flowers mixed together. It's a really cool coral. It's kind of hard to find in the hobby, so when I saw a nice one, I snagged it. I'm thrilled with this new coral. I've also got some new zoas, or pallies. They look like zoas, but they're huge, like you would expect a pally to be. They're super cool. The guys at Big said these came off of a wild colony. I don't know what the name is on these. They're super cool. I've seen ones like these before, but I'm a sucker for big, fat-headed pallies. And these guys are kind of this brighter red with this neon green speckle pattern in the center. I absolutely love it. So if you know the name on these, throw it down in the comments column for me. Saving the best for last is this toadstool. It's a really sweet toadstool. And from what I can see on the back of the camera, the camera is not doing it justice. This is a long tentacle. It's not a weeping willow. It's not that long, but we've got a long tentacle with the green stalks with pink polyps. The pink polyps really are cool and what make this coral. Now, I purchased this coral nearly sight unseen. It was described to me, but when I saw it, the tentacles were pulled in, so I bought it as a full-on gamble. And I'm really happy with what I got. Long tentacles, pink polyps, it's super cool. And down below, there's even another brown toadstool there just for fun. Why not? I'm super stoked and I can't wait to see how this one colors up over time. Lots of new coral really makes this hobby fun. But now that I have new coral, of course I'm starting to have a few problems. And that's what this channel is about. It's about keeping it real, because while on camera right now it looks amazing, there are some problems starting to develop, and those are the things I've got to keep my eye on if I want this tank to continue looking this good. So what's going on? Well, I'm not 100% sure. It could be related to the fluconazole treatment. I don't have any evidence to support that other than about 3 weeks I dosed fluconazole and I have a few minor issues in the tank. So if you remember a week or two ago, I moved my acanthophilia because he was looking a little bleachy, which was weird. My Scully started doing the same thing. Now I'm running ultra low nutrients in this tank, and these are corals that like nutrients, they like to eat. So maybe it's my fault, I haven't been target feeding, that could be it. But then yesterday and the day before, my big elephant ear mushroom started to brown jelly, or at least it looked like the brown jelly you would see on a frog spawn or a hammer, something like that. Really weird. I've had this coral for probably 6 or 7 years. I'm not too sad about the loss, to be honest. It was a beautiful coral, but it's eaten acromis, it's eaten shrimp. It really was a pain in my butt. But it spent the last 4 or 5 years in pretty heavy shade. It's never thrived, and I think maybe that was the cause of its demise. It was sat right under that big green kaleidoscope, toadstool leather, and the Montipora on the edge. So it was pretty heavily shadowed. What I think happened is it's been shadowed, it's been stressed, and then something finally came along to cause a problem for that coral that it could no longer fight off because it's stressed from a lack of light. Now, I don't actually know that that's what happened, because really this just came on as a surprise. But the death of this coral seems to have sparked some chain reactions. With my elephant ear dying off, my entire tank is just looking a little less good. Things are pulled in a little bit. Things aren't quite right. What I think happened is I lost a relatively good sized coral. It just melted in the tank. Well, all of that death has to go somewhere. So it blows around the tank, it goes into the corals, they eat it, they're affected by the stinging cells. Like, there's a lot that happens when a coral dies. It's pretty sick, it's pretty disgusting, and I wish I would have got video of it. Of course I do. But I think that's what happened. I think I stressed out that mushroom by having it in too low light. And I think what I'm seeing now in my tanks is the result of its death. There's nothing here that looks too bad, but I need to work on a few things. First and foremost, I think I'm gonna pull that acanthophilia. Seeing the center bleach, my initial reaction was lighting. I run a lot of light in this tank. But I think downstairs in the frag tank is gonna be a better place for it. It's an LPS that really likes to eat, and I wanna be able to feed this coral. Where it sits currently, I just can't get to it to manually feed it. So I'm gonna pull it. I've already pulled the Scully, and I've done some minor rearranging. Where that Scully was, I put a Duncan in there. It really fills it in pretty nice, and I like it. So that's kind of the path forward. Normally in this situation, I would add carbon to the tank. but I'm kind of pushing the end of my Fluconazole treatment, and I'd really like to get as much out of that as I can. So I'm going to continue to watch this tank. If I have to put carbon in, I will. But I'd rather not mess up my Fluconazole treatment at this point. I'm still seeing drops off in the algae. I'm still making good gains. So, fingers crossed. The only real problem I had is I killed a coral because I had too much growth. And I had coral growing over coral, shadowing coral. So I was basically killing coral with coral. So the tank's looking pretty good, but it's not at its best. And that's one thing I pride myself on, is the fact that I keep it real. I was laying on the couch today looking at the tank, and I just didn't want to shoot it. It wasn't at its best. But I talked to Ian. He encouraged me. He said, Dad, today is the day you have to shoot your tank. It's real life. Film it. That's what the people want to see. So, here we go. Here's the tank. Here's to keeping it real. And I'll see you on the next episode of Mile High Reefers. Like, comment, subscribe. And just in case you were worried, here's the tank the next day. As you can see, it's really opened up, looking good, looking beautiful. It's really doing pretty good. Look at that big bubble.